Hey guys, this is Sam Holman here, back with another video breakdown. I know that most people have already kind of moved on to the NFL draft. I'm probably going to be doing the same in the next couple weeks. But before I did that, I wanted to highlight some pretty interesting stuff that the Packers did on third down against the 49ers, specifically the first four drives. Thought they made some pretty cool calls, manipulated protections, disguised coverages a bit, so I wanted to go over that. So we'll go in and get into it. First drive here, Packers obviously are in third and long. 49ers are in shotgun, 11 personnel. Now what the Packers are doing here is they're actually running a mix of coverages. To the bottom of your screen, they're running basically what is two-man, right? You've got man coverage on that side with a deep half safety playing that deep zone. On the top, you've got quarters coverage. So the corner and the safety are going to be playing quarter zones. Kevin King is going to be the curl flat defender, so he's going to be relating to number 2 if he goes out into the flat. And then if number 2 stays in a block, obviously he's a tight end, so that's a possibility. If number 2 stays in a block, then he's going to just hang back into that little curl zone there. Now, they're doing that for a couple reasons. One is to cover up for some weaknesses if they in their normal quarters coverage. So with the way the Packers play their zone match coverages, if the back flares out from the backfield, as he is going to on this play, normally what will happen is they'll make a push call, where this slot quarterback is going to go out to cover that new receiving threat. Linebacker is going to move over to wall number 2 if he goes vertically. Now, that has some issues. You're getting better leverage on that flat route from the running back, but you're also putting a linebacker into coverage on a wide receiver. It's not always ideal, even if you have safety help over the top. So what the Packers are doing here, like I said, they're in man coverage, which negates some of that, right? You're going to have a linebacker on a running back, cornerback on wide receivers, kind of keeping like bodies on each other, minimizing that coverage weakness. And then what the quarters side of the field allows you to do is it allows you to cover any over routes coming from that other side, the side to the back. As this safety, Amos is going to be able to sit flat-footed on any of those routes. And then it also ends up on this concept on a double coverage on Deebo Samuel right here, because Kittle, like I said, stays in a block. So Amos can kind of squat on that route. Rasul will cover that route as well. And so you essentially get double coverage on the 49ers' number 1 receiver who's running a route. Kittle gets out late into the flat, but it's too late in the concept for him to do anything. Za'Darius already has the sack. And we'll go over the protections in a minute once we get to the end zone view. But I'll go ahead and let this play, and you can see how the routes play out. They do a really nice job on the bottom, playing tight man coverage, and just totally negating those wide receivers. So you can see Campbell going out to cover that back. Savage. It's kind of interesting. They disguise the coverage pretty well until right before the snap. Savage kind of does this disguise where he acts like he's going out into the middle of field coverage, like it's some sort of cover 3 or cover 1, but then he heads back over to that half that he's been assigned. Pretty interesting stuff there. All right, so moving on to the protections. So the Packers aren't doing a whole lot that's fancy up front. The 49ers are just sliding to their right here, which leaves these backside guys in man protection. So Za'Darius is one-on-one with the guard. That's a winning business model. Take that every day. The 49ers made some pretty interesting, I'll say that, to put it nicely, interesting protection calls throughout this game. I'll kind of break that down. I don't love some of them, but this one, you just winning a one-on-one winning a one-on-one pass rush rep, some great stuff. Gets that bull rush going, just knocks him over, and a sack. All right, moving on to the second play. So this one is a little bit less fancy in terms of what they're doing in the secondary. It's just cover 1. right? Deep safety, man coverage everywhere else on the wide receivers. Now, the Packers are running a call that they didn't run a whole lot in the regular season from that cover one family. They're actually running what's called cover one mole. So a common coverage in the cover one family is cover one rat. So, sensing a theme here, those pests. But cover one rat is where you're going to have two linebackers. They're usually linebackers. In this case, it would be a safety or slot cornerback type in Shannon Sullivan. Just using him as an example, you'd have two backers drop out. They'd be banjoing the running back because you've got man coverage everywhere else. So that running back is really the only threat that has to be picked up. If he goes out to one side, the backer to that side will take him in man coverage. The other guy will drop into a middle of field zone. And then if the back goes out to the opposite side, obviously that backer will take him, and the other backer will drop into that middle field zone. What cover one mole is you're actually dropping three guys from the line. So in that case, this is Sullivan, Campbell, and Amos. It's still the same essential call as cover one rat, but you're getting an extra middle field dropper in there to deal with any over routes, any dig routes, those in-breaking stuff. So what's going to happen is that back is going to flare out to Amos's side, so he's going to take him in man coverage. Cornerbacks do a fantastic job staying in sticky man coverage. You'll see right here, Stokes does an especially good job just being patient with his feet, waiting for his wide receiver to break. I'll highlight that once I play the tape a little bit more. But yeah, you'll see the guys drop from the line. So this is essentially a three-man rush, but because of what their 49ers are doing in protection, Rashawn Gary gets one-on-one, takes a long arm. He uses a long arm move to push that to tackle back and get the sack. It's great stuff. So you can see Stokes just staying. He's not opening his hips at all. He's just staying neutral, waiting for that wide receiver to declare on his route. Right? Waits for him to declare. Sticks with him. Just lovely stuff. All right, so what the Packers are doing up front is they're giving a 5-0 look. What that's meant to do is that's meant to draw man coverage from the 49ers, where you're basically getting one-on-one across the board. You might have the running back stay in to protect, but like I said, the goal is to get that man protection across the board. And it looks like that's what they get. It's a little bit hard to tell. It might be a slide, but I think from what I can see, it's going to be man protection. So I'll just let that play here. There you get him drop out. It also looks like the refs maybe missed a false start on the 49ers. You can see Preston pointing that out, right? Of course, Trent Williams has a great get off, great speed off the ball, so that might be it as well. But it looks kind of like a false start to me. Right, Sean Gary gets that beautiful long arm. Just look at that. And arm over, sack. Three-man rush, it gets some flack, but if you can get pressure out of that and devote more resources to the secondary, there's not really a downside, right? Obviously, it's not great all the time in the NFL, but every once in a while, I think it has a place. All right, so what we're getting here, this is the third drive. The Packers are giving a cover zero look, so it looks like these guys are all in man coverage. All right, you got 7 guys. Didn't draw that circle wide enough. Gary's right there. You got 7 guys up on the line, looking like they're about to rush. So the offense has to account for that. Now, what the Packers are going to end up doing is they're going to drop Savage out in the middle of the field zone, play cover 1, and they're going to send a 5-man pressure. It kind of turns into a 4-man pressure. Kenny Clark turns into a little bit of a spy for what it looks like. But they're sending Amos, Clark, Campbell, Z, and Gary. What's going to happen with Preston, he's going to drop out to cover the tight end in man coverage. Normally, obviously, that's not a great look, but what the Packers are calling, right? The call that they're making here minimizes what the impact of that could be, because you've got Kevin King, he's dropping out to the middle field hole right there. So Preston has help on the inside. Darnell Savage can give him help deep. So really, the only major way that that tight end can hurt you is if he gets out fast to the flat. And Preston does a really good job kind of getting outside right off the snap to close that off. So I'll let this play a little bit. Right, you can kind of see Kenny dropping out into a little bit of a spiral. Now, this is like where the interesting decisions for the 49ers in protection start to show up, because what they essentially do is they slide away. They slide to the slide to get big on big. So you've got 3 pass rushers on this slide, so they slide that way. But what that ends up doing is that ends up leaving the linebacker against a running back who does a good job. So it's not exactly a horrible decision, but I'm not sure I would have made that decision. It's tough with the defense all grouped up on the line here. There's not it kind of limits your protection options a little bit. But the Packers end up getting a free runner in Amos. He's able to get the pressure. Savage is able to break up the throw on kind of the post route that's going to be run, and the Packers get off the field. If he takes a different angle there, it looks like he could intercept that, but just something, I guess, for him to work on in the off season. Right, because you can kind of see what the 49ers are looking at here. I keep not getting Gary in my circles, which is not right because he is amazing. Okay, so you got those 3 guys on one side, Gary in the wide 9. So you kind of, in a sense, I can see why the 49ers slid that way, even though you've got more guys on the side of the line here. It's a tough decision, right? That's one thing I think that Barry did really well on some of these third downs, is he put the offense in tough situations with either his protection, coverage disguise, that sort of thing. So the 49ers going to slide right. You can see them all looking that way. And the great thing is, it means that you're essentially wasting 2 offensive linemen, because with Preston dropping out and King dropping out, you've got 3 guys on 2 blockers, right? And like I said, that fullback does a good job protecting here. Juszczyk is a good all-around back. In a vacuum, running back on linebacker is a good matchup. So I like that pressure call from Joe Barry. Nice design. Backers disguise it well and get off the field. All right, last clip here. This is from their 4th drive. So the Packers are again going to drop into cover 1, but they're gonna get to it in another way that's a little bit of a tendency breaker for them. They're going to be running what's called cover 1 buzz, where this front side safety is going to drop into that middle of the field hole. Backside safety is going to go into that post. Obviously, you got man coverage everywhere else. You can see Kevin King motioning with that 49ers receiver. And then Devondre Campbell is going to be on that running back. Like I said, this is a little bit of a tendency breaker. What the Packers often will do, I'll pause it real quick before it gets going, is they'll run what's called cover 1 cross, where they drop this backside safety in against the kind of 3-by-1 set right here, just so they can have some leverage. If there are any over routes, can sometimes be tough for the safety to get on them. Savage does a great job here. He kind of cuts off those routes, but just can be tough in certain situations. Yep. You can kind of see Savage uses his speed. I went too far back a little bit there. Uses his speed to undercut the over route. I guess it's a little, kind of a curl over type thing. Packers get a sack. And then they're also doing some interesting stuff with their front here. So again, they're in kind of a 5-0 look where you've got 5 guys on the line. You're hoping for man protection, so it's 1-on-1s across the board. 49ers do slide here. I'm guessing that they're taking advantage of the Packers' tendency to drop Devondre Campbell into coverage more than blitzing him. He's been a great linebacker this year, but I think pass rush is maybe something he's not as good at. Yeah, just maybe something, if the Packers get a linebacker in the draft who can do that, that might open up their defensive playbook a little bit. But I'm not going to complain. He's been great in pretty much every other field. Now, what the Packers are doing is they're also putting Kenny Clark on one side, and then all these edge rushers are loaded up on the other side. So you're going to get, if the 49ers essentially have to slide to the right. So you're going to get a 1-on-1 for Kenny Clark. It's great news. You're also generally going to get a 1-on-1 for some of these outside guys with the left guard. Left guard's going to slide since he's uncovered. You can the main guy you can double team is Za'Darius, just with how wide the Packers' edges are lining up here. So Rashawn is going to get a 1-on-1 here. He's going to win that 1-on-1 and get the sack. Beautiful long arm. Essentially the same move as before. He's just so dominant. I love watching him. You can kind of see how the left guard and center. Left guard comes over to help on Z. Looks like the center actually goes over to help on Preston a little bit, but Preston takes an outside path on that guard, and so he can't really do much. And Trent Williams, there were some clips going around of Trent Williams just dominating against some of the Packers defensive linemen like Dean Lowry, Tyler Lancaster, and listen, Lancaster and Lowry, you can always upgrade at those positions, but honestly, Trent Williams is just insane. Like he essentially stones Kenny Clark right there, which is a feat not many can accomplish. All right. So yeah, those are the plays I wanted to go over. I'm probably not going to go over many other plays from the 2021 season, at least for now. I'm planning to go over, rewatch some of the games once we're past the draft and free agency, but that'll be a little bit a ways in the future. Might try to put together some video breakdowns on some draft prospects I like later on. But anyway, thanks for watching, and go Pack Go!